Hi, going to take a look at the game between Magnus Carlsen and Hikaru Nakamura in 2023. This was a speed chess game. This game had some pretty interesting moment in it, so hold on. We'll reach those moments, and we'll see them. Magnus plays white e4, d6, d4, g6, knight c3, bishop g7, bishop e3, knight f6, f3, c6, queen d2, b5. This way of playing the opening is, I think, quite natural to Nakamura. It's pretty ambitious, pretty aggressive, and it's also pretty strong. I think it's probably one of the best way to play this opening. Bishop d3, knight d7, knight h3, e5, capture on e5, capture on e5, knight f6, castle, a4, b4, knight e2, a5, castle, queen e7, rook f to d1, knight c5. This is interesting. Nakamura places his knight to c5. One of the ideas that white has is to play bishop c4 and queen d6, and then maybe knight c5 is going to become weak after this. Carlsen plays bishop c4, knight f to d7. This is a subtle positional mistake that computer immediately spots, and this subtle positional mistake allows white to play queen d6 and to capture space and attack pawn c6 and create a lot of weaknesses in black's camp. Instead of playing knight f to d7, black had to make move bishop a6 and essentially attacking white's bishop c4. Now white has to react. White cannot play queen d6 since after queen d6, rook d6, bishop c4, bishop c5, black is going to capture on e2 and remain with a piece up. So white has to capture on a6, bishop a6, and now after rook a6, move queen d6 is not as strong. This is what computer tells, and this difference is pretty subtle, pretty positional. But in this variation, black's pieces are more solid and are better defended than in the variant that happened in the game. In the game, Nakamura made the move knight f to d7, and in this variant, move queen d6 is somewhat significantly stronger than if he played bishop a6. Queen d6, queen d6, rook d6, rook e8. Carlsen captures on c6, and his position is already on the border of winning. He is a pawn up, his bishop c4 is up, his bishops are crazy strong, he's essentially already on the border of winning, but nonetheless, pretty interesting things happened later in game. Bishop f8, rook d1, white has amazing position, all pieces are working amazing, rook c6, but only one point in that somehow rook c6 might become trapped, so there is this kind of idea for black. Rook d1, and also now I pay attention that maybe Nakamura blundered a pawn. That maybe Carlsen blundered the pawn. Maybe, I'm not sure. Maybe it was on purpose. Knight a4, bishop b5, knight goes back to c5. Bishop c5, knight captures c5, and now Carlsen makes a move rook d2. I would want to ask you to pause this position, to take a look at this position, since there is some nice and simple tactics there exists in this position, which Carlsen missed. unusually for him, he missed simple tactics, and this tactics is capture rook c6 captures on c5, and now bishop b5 attacks rook e8. After capture on c5, bishop c5, bishop captures on c5, bishop captures on e8, and essentially white is a piece up and in a winning position. There are moves like rook c5, bishop c5, bishop e8, bishop a6, now attacking both the knight and the bishop, but there is bishop there should be something. Let's take a look. Rook c5, bishop c5, bishop e8, bishop a6. Is there anything? Is there anything at all in this position? How to save the bishop? I don't see a way to save a piece now for white. I don't see a way to save a piece for white, but it's interesting. Maybe this is why Carlsen actually didn't go to this variant. Well, thanks to the computer tells me that move rook d5 is very good, and it wins. For example, capture on f2, king f2, rook e8, rook a5. Okay, so essentially white is pawn up, and computer tells that white is winning. Okay, so it could lead to a position with a pawn up and very strong for white. But so Carlsen, maybe he missed it, or maybe he didn't do it on purpose, since he's seen that there are some problems, some complications, but didn't see that move rook d5 and the capture on a5. Instead, he played rook d5, and this move allowed some very strong play for Nakamura. This allowed some serious problems to happen. Nakamura played knight e6, and now white has a problem that suddenly white's pieces might get attacked, and Nakamura might win an exchange in this situation. For example, already there is a threat of bishop b7, and an exchange is going to be won. If now white plays rook c4, knight e6, bishop, and here Carlsen plays b3, and this is a mistake, since he probably missed bishop b7. And the problem is bishop b7. Instead, he had to withdraw his rook probably to c4, playing rook c4, bishop b7, bishop e8, bishop d5, e takes d5, rook e8, capture on e6, and white is winning. If this is a forced variation, but he played before, and he allowed for Nakamura to play bishop b7, and this is a pin. Nakamura wins an exchange with this pin. There is rook e5, rook, and here in this situation, white Carlsen is still going to lose an exchange. At this very moment, capture on c6 is impossible. It's not possible to. It's not going to lead to a good position to black, since after bishop b6, white captures bishop c6, bishop c6, and it's going to be a fork on two rooks. White is going to win an exchange back. So when Nakamura played rook e to b8, and there are threats. Carlsen plays rook b6, and there is a problem with this rook e5. It's going to become trapped, and Nakamura is going to win an exchange. And this is what happened in the game. This is not what happened in the game. Here, Nakamura made a mistake. He blundered rook bishop c5. he played bishop c5, and he had to play bishop g7. After bishop c5, it's not clear how to win, but Carlsen captured on e6, and it was a good position for him. But instead, Carlsen Nakamura had to play bishop g7, and it would capture an exchange in better variation. In a better variation. Okay, so bishop g7, rook e2 takes on e6, capture on e6, bishop e c4, and now maybe bishop c8, maybe defending the pawn. Seems possible to me. Instead, he played bishop c5, and Carlsen went on to win the game. Bishop c4, bishop c8, knight d4, bishop b6, knight e6, bishop e4, but the position isn't winning. I wouldn't say that the position is winning for white now, since it's only like 2 pawns. It should be a draw. But Carlsen has a powerful knight, a powerful king, so there is it's difficult to play with rooks. Everything is protected. f5, rook c2. He seemed to miss some tactics. Now he creates checkmating threats and continues to a winning endgame. f6, b3, rook b7, b2, king f3, rook g4, rook b2, rook e4, rook f b8, rook f4, rook h8, king e6, rook h7, and the position is winning, and Magnus proceeds to win the game. Due to some maybe it was already bullied and only seconds were left, but he actually got into a drawn position, and if Nakamura captured now on g6, it would be a draw. Or played rook e6 check, rook e6 king, rook e6, rook e6, 6 king e6, and it would be a draw. But maybe it were already only seconds left, and instead he just blundered a rook unexpectedly. Okay, so Carlsen won in this game. Thanks for watching.